Dr. Dattatreyudu is now telling us about his marriage. He says, those days in India, if a family were to give a daughter in marriage, apart from the bridegroom's character, his assets were of prime importance. Had the groom good property, he could get a good amount of dowry also. In that period, providing a dowry was very typical. I belonged to a good family. I was also good, handsome, and intelligent. I had already completed my graduate degree in medicine. These are all my positive points. I had lost my father at a young age, but from a good education, I did not have any property or great status. These were my negative points. I did not have any familial obligations to sisters of marriage age, nor to younger brothers to be educated. That was another positive point. But until that time, my brothers had taken care of me and provided for my education. I didn't have my own house, etc. These were other points on the negative side. Therefore, it was a little difficult to obtain a good marriage alliance for me. Now, Mr. Tadepalli Srinivasa Rao, who was a practicing chartered accountant at Nizamabad, evaluated all those pros and cons and yet decided to give his daughter Subhadra to me in marriage. Although he was rich, he did not want to give any dowry as a matter of principle. I was a rare bridegroom who accepted all those conditions. In fact, I never bothered about a dowry. My mother, my sisters, and other women folk also didn't expect any customary gifts from the bride's family. So, our family liked me. My elder brother requested that they pay rupees 4,000 towards marriage expenses. They settled for rupees 3,500. My marriage with Subhadra was solemnized according to the Hindu customs on 9th March 1974 at Nizamabad. Some of my cousins in the US often tease my wife by asking her, "You could get Dattu for $50. Now we will pay you $30 million US dollars. Return her Dattu to us." My wife also takes it sportingly and makes a repartee with a smile. No, 30 million is not adequate. Increase the rate, I may then consider. By the time of marriage, Subhadra had also completed a degree in medicine at Osmania College at Hyderabad. After our wedding, we started our life at a rented house in Nallakunta in Hyderabad. I started working hard for the maintenance of the family. I had a good friend, Yerramilli Krishna Rao from my Kurnool college days. His family had an alkali metal factory in the Uppal area of Hyderabad. Because of my acquaintance with him, I used to visit the factory as a consulting doctor 2 or 3 times a week. They paid me rupees 200 per month. I also opened a clinic in Alakunta. Whenever I would not go to Uppal, I used to attend the clinic in the evenings. Patients normally prefer to go to a busy clinic. So, to give such a semblance, my second elder brother, his wife, and children used to come and sit in the clinic. Thanks to their good intention and strategy, I had a good practice there. I also started issuing leave certificates on medical grounds to state and central government employees. By now, I was able to overcome my monetary problems. Progress in their careers, research, etc., caused some professionals to neglect their families. But I am not one among them. I believe that family, near and dear ones, are very important for everyone. My conviction from the beginning has been that regarding one's spouse, children, parents, relatives, and friends, one has to take great care of them, do whatever one can do for them, and share love with them. And this I meticulously practiced. Nothing can compensate for the loss of one's father. Losing my father, the guiding spirit in my early childhood, compounded by financial problems, are the early chapters of my life. I was to accept my fate. I am grateful to my maternal auntie, Mrs. Jonnalagadda Sundaramma, but for whose help I could not have continued my education, thus surmounting my increasing monetary problems. My mother had also toiled very hard for me until I settled down in the US. Tears well up in my eyes at that very thought. When I first settled in the US, it was a very hectic part of my life. both personally and professionally. There was also a period of my rapid progress, a very satisfying phase indeed. Initially, we bought a house on the banks of the Hudson River. After a few years, we built our own spacious house consisting of all the amenities, including a swimming pool and garden. On one occasion, we conducted a board meeting of the Indo-American Cancer Hospital. That time, Mr. G. Pullareddy, owner of the renowned sweet stall chain G. Pullareddy Sweets, visited my house, and after I showed him around it, he said, "Doctor, many may not like it if we construct and live in a very big house. Be cautious." He being a very experienced veteran of life lessons, I could not brush aside his comments. But in a way, my construction of that house epitomized my perceived success after my childhood poverty. Pullareddy, in spite of his lofty status in the society, was very humble. Although he was extremely wealthy, he lived in a humble abode. Yet he had constructed a huge chowdhury for the poor patients visiting the Indo-American hospital. The daily rent there was 10 Indian rupees. After our children grew up and were on their own, Subhadra and I shifted to a smaller home as that house was too big for me. It was my wife's wholehearted support that was the foundation for my ability to accomplish many things, including research, medical innovations, and teaching. Both as a woman and a doctor, she continued to be my inspiration. With a growing baby in her arms, she came to the US, completed her residency, almost worshipped her medical profession, and climbed the ladder of success rung by rung, so much so that she became the regional director of the Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation Department, part of the Queen's Health Network. It is not an easy task to supervise almost 40 therapists, 10 attending physicians, and 30 residents. I'm not praising her because she is my wife. Rather, I can attest that she, as a doctor, has all sincerity and devotion towards her profession. She took an active part in raising donations for the construction and maintenance of Basavatarakam Indo-American Cancer Hospital. Even today, she continues to work for organizations such as the South Asian and American Women Alliance, etc. She earned several awards for her work. Spiritually, she has always followed her values throughout her life. She evinces great interest in understanding the meaning of holy religious hymns. She appreciates the discourses of Brahmarshi Samavedam Shanmukha Sharma, a spiritual orator from the state of Andhra Pradesh. She is also a great devotee of Vishwayogi Vishwamsi. With a broad-minded perspective of both the physical and the metaphysical, she believes in the adage, serving humanity is serving divinity. She puts that conviction into action also. Having said that, she is not an orthodox woman, she is a modern thinker. Many in the US concentrate on physical fitness. Subhadra has also adopted this practice. She goes to the gym, she practices Zumba, she swims in the summer. To sum up, Subhadra did everything for me to grow, and she worked very hard for her children to progress. Like any other parents, we did not want our children to suffer like we did in our early days. Fortunately, they appreciated our hard work and adopted good values and did well in their education. My son Satish has a penchant for law. He earned his BA in political science from Johns Hopkins University and obtained his law degree from the renowned New York University School of Law. Although he had ample opportunities to join any corporate law firm and make a name and mint money, he joined as an attorney. The Legal Aid Society, primarily lending his legal services to poor people. We love the sincerity with which he has been working there for the last 20 years. In 2015, New York Law Journal published an issue featuring 50 selected youth talents. It is needless to mention that my parental pride for my son doubled to know that the journal has named my son for his honor. The selection committee consisted of 24 judges. My daughter-in-law, Joy, is also an academician and currently a professor of law in one of the prestigious colleges of New York. Joy's father, Mr. Raj Kamar, was a highly accomplished architect and worked in South Africa for many years before coming to the US. Her parents, Ms. Vijay Kanwar and Mr. Raj Kamar, settled in Orlando and were very respected for their community service activities. My son and his wife have twins, a boy Shan Kumar Nori and a my daughter Jhansi Noor. My daughter Priya, in her childhood, started learning Indian classical dance, Bharatanatyam. For 14 to 15 years, ferrying her to and from the dance classes every Sunday, which we did, was like a huge religious ritual. Priya's Arangetam, the debut dance performance, was a colossal affair. Therefore, thereafter, she also gave a few dance performances. When she grew up, she pursued medicine. She is now an associate professor in the Einstein College of Medicine. She has done all her training there. Currently, she is doing research on diseases that are caused by infections. She is one of the leading doctors in the US in the treatment of COVID 19. She is also the director of one of the largest fellowship programs in the US. In the year 2015, she received the Teacher of the Year award, and in 2017, the Rising Star Award. Himanshu Nagar, my son in law, is also a renowned oncologist. He came up a hard way, like me, in his personal life. That's why I have a very special affection for him. Himanshu's father, Ramakant Nagar, is a very fine gentleman and an individual of simple contentment. In one phrase, he is a god among humans. When he migrated to the US with his family, he was a journalist and also a professional event photographer. His wife, Mrs. Indrabala Nagar, was also an accomplished professional supporting him. Himanshu also used to help him by acting as a DJ, disc jockey, while simultaneously pursuing his studies. He was very bright in his studies. He earned his degree in medicine at the University of Texas and obtained his postgraduate training from Cornell University Medical Center. Priya and Himanshu have two daughters, Prana Maheshwari Nagar and Abhinaya Nagar. The children born in the US are being exposed to many aspects and vagaries of life and could be easy prey to false allurement and thus tread wrong paths. Accomplished parents might not necessarily raise better children. There are many an incident where children of many reputed doctors and Nobel laureates stayed straight and lived disturbed lives. To share the truth, we always had a lurking fear about our children until they shone in their education and careers and were settled with their life partners. We therefore took great care with their upbringing. We used to take them to the temples and other cultural programs. We exposed them to Indian arts, culture, and stories with morals. Something very interesting, and there's a clear message for a lot of people. They too have nurtured good moral values, faith and devotion to God, and pursued a right path in life. They also speak good Telugu, which pleases us immensely. One of my brothers-in-law, Subhadra's brother, is Ramesh, whom we could help to come to the US and establish himself as a certified accountant. Another, Suresh, settled with his family in Hyderabad. The World Trade Center was a landmark in New York, known to almost everyone. The Twin Towers were among the tallest buildings in the world. Terrorists blasted them by planes on September 11, 2001. In the morning at about 8 o'clock, they were attacked. In 2 hours, they were reduced into shambles. The rubble and the dust totally engulfed the nearby buildings completely and rendered them useless abodes. My son Satish Nori used to live in an apartment nearby the Twin Towers. On the day of those attacks, my wife and I were attending to our regular duties as usual. When we had come to learn of the terrorist attack, we were dumbstruck. When we tried to contact Satish, that line was not functioning. We became so tense. It is difficult to describe. Early in the afternoon, Satish came to me. The relief and the happiness that I experienced then were also beyond words. From his apartment, he had walked almost 10 miles to reach me.